Hello Shell Point, I'm Dan Philgreen. And about this time a year ago, we brought you a series on interesting and out-of-the-way places at Shell Point. A few behind-the-scenes spots that normally don't get seen by anybody on a day-by-day basis. Well, we got a lot of response to that, so we thought we'd give you a chance to see it again. Now, last year, we talked about a few places that were destined to possibly be changed in the future. For example, we're here by the sign wall, out by the entrance, and what a difference a year makes. I mentioned in that piece that this might possibly be the spot where a building would be coming up. At the time a year ago, this was filled with palm trees out here. Well, that possible building is on the way, folks. So some of the things you might see here have changed a little bit. We think you'll enjoy some interesting and out-of-the-way views of Shell Point. Shell Point is a big place. Altogether, the property encompasses approximately 400 acres. And you know, on these 400 acres, there are a lot of out-of-the-way and interesting places that most folks never see. Or there might be some places that you pass by often, but have never really stopped to see what's there. So we thought we'd take an opportunity to show you some out-of-the-way and interesting places at Shell Point that are rarely, if ever, seen. For example, this big area above the sign wall is large enough to hold a pretty substantial sized building. And no doubt one of these days there will be a building here. And this is something you see every time you drive into Shell Point. But until I walked around here, I really had no idea how much space was really here. Just north of the sign wall and south of the drive into the springs is this big open area right here. This is big enough to land a helicopter in, which has happened several times. You all know where the Shell Point billboard is, just near the entrance, but what you might not realize is immediately to the north is quite a tract of land that is all woods. So who would think that not even 100 yards off of McGregor, there is this woods that seems like a primeval wilderness. And this is the Borrow Pit Lake that's just north of the springs. Now when Shell Point Boulevard was made, they pulled sand out of here to raise the level of the roadbed. I've been told that this lake is about 40 or 50 feet deep because a lot of sand came out of here. And until recently, this lake was entirely surrounded by the kind of vegetation you see on the far side. It was recently cleared on the south side and is going to become a part of the development of the Springs area. And probably it'll get a different name than Borrow Pit Lake, I would think. And I'm standing now at the green for the 19th hole of the Shell Point Golf Course. The 19th hole, you'll ask, well, it's the one for which the fairway is Shell Point Boulevard. It's the display hole that welcomes folks to the Shell Point Golf Club. Adjacent to that display hole happens to be the bathroom stop and water and ice station for the front 9 holes. Just west of the 12th hole of the golf course is this sizable woods area. And it was left this way in the middle of the golf course because back when the development was happening, there was an eagle's nest here, a pair of eagles nesting. So the woods is still here. The eagles didn't come back, they've been long gone, but there's still quite a woods here in the middle of the golf course. There's several interesting architectural features here at the entrance area to the estuary. There's this small outdoor chapel here, and it's a really lovely spot for some quiet contemplation. This pretty little bridge across the lake at the estuary is a prime feature for taking a stroll in this area. There haven't yet been a whole lot of activities here at the Commons building at the Cove at the estuary, but in the future, there's probably going to be some things going on here you'd like to attend. Out here near the chiller plant, which provides you air conditioning, Shell Point actually has a nursery. And the Steve Morton and the grounds crew team propagates plants here for use all over the property, and by doing so they save a tremendous amount of money. But it's just like going to a regular nursery here. There's all kinds of plants that they're growing, and they make their way all over the property. And here on the north side of the arbor, just adjacent to the parking lot, is this gate. It's a passageway into the St. Charles Yacht Club residential area. It's controlled by an electronic latch, and frankly, I don't know how you work it, but if you need to get through there, there's a way. On the northeast side of the arbor, there is this ancient Indian mound. Maybe it was used for burials. I don't know that anybody really knows. But when the property was developed, a lot of fill was brought in, but no fill was put here where the mound is. You can see that the fill actually drops off and there's a depression, but then from there it goes up and there is this mound. It's a little bit hard to see because of all the foliage, but if you're adventurous and want to trek back in here, you can actually see that it's a mound. Just behind the arbor on the east side, right next to this beautiful mature Royal Poinciana tree, is the arbor's gazebo. It's a beautiful little place. Arbor residents have events here from time to time, but the rest of the time it's just sitting here waiting for you to come and sit and enjoy it. There's a pretty little pond here by this roadside rest stop along Shell Point Boulevard. If you're taking a walk or riding your bike, this is the place to stop and just rest and enjoy the scenery a little bit. Now here's a spot I know you know about. These benches that are under the two huge Cuban laurel trees along the lagoon. But if you haven't taken time to sit here and just soak in this view, boy, it's one of the delights of Shell Point. Now here's a spot not to be missed. It's the island pond out here in the middle of the garden apartment, sometimes called the garden apartment pond. And there's these two cute bridges here and this island in the middle. Now your neighbor Gaz Goslin spent a lot of time redoing this island here, turning it into a beautiful spot. And wow, it's just lovely. Look at the view over here into the pond. Sometimes you just got to take a little time to sit here on this little island and enjoy it. One of my favorite things about the landscaping here at Shell Point are these beautiful Royal Poinciana trees that we have all over the property. You can't miss them when they're in bloom like this. They're just gorgeous. Some places in the world they call them a flamboyant tree for a good reason. I planted one of these in my backyard and I just hope that someday it looks like this. Part of the wonderful charm of the garden apartments is that each building here on the island has a courtyard, and each courtyard has a lovely feature to sit and enjoy, such as a fountain, or in this case, in Teledora, there's a koi pond. And boy, these fish have really gotten big since the last time I was here. A wonderful way to spend an afternoon is to just go from building to building and check out each one of these lovely features. I'd love to just sit by each one of them and do a little thinking. Keep watching Shell Point TV. We'll have more of these out of the way and interesting spots to show you in the near future.